evening and welcome to a pre-weekend edition of the Daily Deuce. I'm Gary Graves from Louisville, Kentucky, and in Maryland, my good friend, esteemed colleague, John Webster. John, how are you doing today?
Gary, how's everybody doing? Man, it's great to be here. I'm loving this pre-weekend Daily Deuce show, and I'm just glad to be able to say hi to you on top of the ground instead of saying hi to you beneath the ground. John Pitt, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good, man. We got second show back from our break, and we got a special guest. I'm excited.
We got a special guest. Gary, go ahead and bring him in and introduce him, Gary.
Hey, John, you could probably do it better than I because I know. Look, we're going to talk about boxing. I'm going to throw it to you. I want you to do it in Michael Buffer style and introducing our guest.
Oh, man. Wow.
Well, this is all I'm going to say. Today, we have the one, the only, the epitome of being a ring announcer, the special Henry H.J. Discombobulating Jones. And as he comes on today to talk about boxing, we're going to be ready to rumble. Oh, my friend, Henry Discombobulating Jones. H.J., how you doing, man?
Man, I'm glad they muted that out a little bit because you could have got sued for saying that trademark phrase of Buffer, you know? And I want to say something, reference what you said about being on top of the ground. So I was at a home going a couple of weeks ago, and I heard two older men talking. He said, man, I haven't seen you in about 50 years? He said, yeah, and it's better to be seen than viewed. Now,
Yes.
that gave me a newfound appreciation for life, for real, you know? So we're ready to do it, so let's step to it. Certainly my honor and pleasure to once again be on the preeminent show, The Daily Deuce.
All right. Yeah, we're glad to have you. So let's talk about the Sweet Science this weekend. Sounds like you all, here in Louisville, the home of Muhammad Ali. Boxing has a special place here. But let's talk about what's happening in D.C. I'm assuming it's in D.C. There's a big fight going on this weekend. So tell me a little bit about it.
Actually, it's in Vegas, and the closest participant to D.C. is Gervonta Tank Davis, who's from Baltimore. And he is one of the premier fighters of our time right now. And this is a mega fight in the lightweight division. And the winner can kind of command his own shots going forward. Two undefeated fighters, Gervonta Tank Davis, 28-0, 26 knockouts, 93% rate. Ryan Garcia, I believe, is 21-0, 19 knockouts. Somebody going to sleep. Okay, let's put it that way. Get your pillows ready. Somebody's tasting that canvas. This is not going the distance. They don't even like each other. And so the winner is in perfect position going forward for the more super fights, even more so than this one, because you have other guys lurking. Shakur Stevenson, Devin Haney, who has all the belts, Teofimo Lopez, Lomachenko. The future is bright. The future is bright. So we're looking forward to tomorrow night's fight.
I have to ask you, when you talk about, I'm sorry, John, go ahead, man.
HJ, I got two questions for you. One, with this fight, they're fighting at a catch weight of 136. Does that have the potential to be an advantage for either one of the fighters? That's the first question I have. And then the second question, I want to follow up on something you said about mega paydays after this. Is this fight a big mega payday more so for one of these fighters than the other? And what I mean is, if Davis loses, does Garcia have a potential to make as much money as Davis would have if he won? Going back to an analogy of the 80s, say like when Hearns fought Duran, was it more important for one of them to win than the other?
Wow. Loaded questions. Okay, let's begin with the first one. And that is, I forgot what the first one was now. You just said so many things. What was the first one?
Catch weight.
You know, and that's why I forgot it, because very rarely has there been a catch weight in boxing. Mm-hmm. You know, so this is like stacking the deck to try to get that advantage. Garcia walks around about 175. He's huge. So they have it stipulated in the contract for him to be at 136. He has to weigh in twice to make sure on the day of the fight he's still within that range. Of course, it's an advantage for Tank. But because there's so much money involved, Ryan Garcia and his people, which means Oscar De La Hoya and Bernard Hopkins, they went along with it because it's just so much money involved. You got to go with that. It's called prize fighting, not free fighting. So you got to make as much money as you can while you can. Now, the other thing with that is Ryan and Oscar have kind of been on the outs with each other. So it's possible that De La Hoya is cashing Ryan out, putting him in this fight with these stipulations. Because from what I heard, he was going to leave Oscar anyway, just like Canelo did. If you know that, that's right. Canelo said, well, you know, I'm going to eliminate the middleman and get as much money as I can and take these other bouts. And he lost against the guy, Bivol. But he's still a cash cow, and he's keeping more of his money. Now, I do remember the second part of your question, and that is, should Ryan win? Actually, I'm going to throw race in there, and he's a huge social influencer with millions of followers that Tank doesn't have. So going forward, the intrigue will be for people to follow Ryan. For him to have those mega fights. So he has everything to gain. And in this fight, really nothing to lose, because people think he's going to lose anyway. So he might as well cash out. And from what I heard, the split is going to be ridiculous. He can get up to 40, 50 mil out this thing. Yes. So the purse, he only getting 2.5 mil for the purse. And he said, I'll bet the purse. Well, yeah, I guess you will bet the purse if you're getting 40, 50 million, you know, from the residual pay-per-view sales and merchandising and all that good stuff. So this is a smart move for him to fight Tank right now. He forewent a tune-up, if you recall. Tank had a tune-up, and that's what Gary probably was thinking about in D.C., January 7th. Ryan said, I'm not going to have a tune-up. I'm going to wait on this mega fight, which was a smart move, because anything could have happened. He could have lost. He could have got cut, whatever. So hats off to Ryan Garcia, but my money's on Tank.
So basically, Ryan Garcia could lose, but he's still going to win.
That's what you want.
Yeah.
That's what you want. That's the ultimate win-win scenario there. You know, you can retire after this if you want to.
Okay.
You know, it depends on how he loses. If he, you know, gets stretched and goes to sleep like Tank did against Leo Santa Cruz, you might want to give this thing up and look for something else to do, because he's the matinee idol look. You know, he's got the followers. He's got the connections in Hollywood. He could be an actor.
Yeah, I saw like on Instagram, Garcia has like 9.5 million followers on Instagram. That's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. That's right. That's right. We should be so fortunate. You know, but in reference to your analogy about the four kings of the 80s, starting with your boy Ray Leonard, and deservedly so, the king of kings, Ray Leonard. I have to go with Hagler second. I have to go with Hearns third, and then Duran. They didn't duck each other. They fought each other. You know, it's for pride, and they got a great payday behind it. That's what I'm hoping will happen now with Tank, Ryan, Lomachenko, Devin Haney, Teofimo Lopez. You know, Shakur Stevenson is that X factor. So, but you know, that's just one division. We got other divisions where we could have some great scenarios as well. I know you want to talk about it.
Absolutely. Let me let Gary get in. I interrupted him earlier. Go ahead, Gary. Jump on in here.
Yeah. Well, actually, I can kind of dovetail into what you were talking about in terms of well, boxing in general and its profile. When you were talking about influencing, how much can a fight like this really help boxing's profile? And when you ran off the Four Kings, and I mean, I think about an epic time when that was an event. You planned for that. You set money aside to buy the pay-per-view. There were parties. And of course, the heavyweight division in the 80s and early 90s, well, actually up until like the late 90s, you know, that was the premier marquee division. And again, that was must-see TV. And I'm going to say it's less so after their retirement, after the heavyweight division. Those guys got older. You know, Tyson, Holyfield, Lennox Lewis, those guys went away. And it seems like boxing has really had to fight a battle to use a metaphor with mixed martial arts and UFC, right. and those kind of events. I don't care. I lost count of the last one. I want to say it was probably like 267 or something like that. But they get hyped. They have ESPN. They have exposure. And I still feel like boxing, there's some appeal there, but it's like something the sport isn't doing with a fight like this, where you've got two unbeaten guys going against each other in Las Vegas, no less. And how can this fight really kind of help boxing, kind of get back to where it was?
Great question. So it has to be a great fight. It can't be a one-sided blowout. It might have to be a little controversial to get a rematch even. Now, Tank is the A side, but Ryan, as we said, has the followers. He's the pretty boy in this scenario per se. So to get some of those MMA fans to come back over to boxing, we have to have those polarizing characters. We had it with Tyson, of course. People tune in to Tyson just because he was Tyson, and you expected something to happen quickly. The guy, Adrian Broner, if you remember him, people tune in to see him. A lot of people tune in to see him lose, but he was a controversial figure. Of course, Floyd Mayweather set the blueprint. He set the blueprint. He made himself a villain, really, because he knew he wasn't going to cross over like Muhammad Ali and be well loved by everybody. So he monetized this thing. I don't think there'll ever be a blueprint like that again for making money. He's the poster child for that. For MMA, they put on great matchups and really don't care who win or lose, per se. They just want great fights, and they'll get an immediate rematch if it is a great fight. In boxing, they've been ducking each other. Floyd kind of spoiled them to be undefeated. That O. You got to keep my O. My O must not go. So they lost out on a lot of money by ducking each other, and then the fans went away because they said, you're not going to play us like this for years. And, of course, Crawford and Spence is the one I'm really referring to, but now it's finally going to happen June 17th, and it's probably going to be the most watched welterweight fight of all time. Sorry, John Webster, which regarding Sugar Ray, but yeah, this is going to be the one because it's been much anticipated and long awaited. So we can't wait for June 17th for Crawford and Spence back in Vegas.
Yeah.
Are we at a point?
Oh, go ahead, Gary. Go ahead.
Yeah. Do you think we can ever get to a point that, and I'm saying that the sporting public, where with boxers, where perfection is the goal, and that's why you talk about them ducking, but maybe we're at a point now where imperfection is not that bad a thing, and like say if somebody, oops, sorry about the light there, but if someone loses, is that a bad thing, and can they come back? Do people want to see a rematch like that to stir up the interest?
Unfortunately, it's looked at as a bad thing, that now you're vulnerable, you're not that guy that we thought you were. But again, in the 80s, Sugar Ray lost to Duran. came back and beat Duran. You know, Marvin Hagler beat Hearns. Hearns crushed Duran. You know, it wasn't about being undefeated as much as being well admired for taking on challenges at that time. Now it's about the business of boxing instead of boxing business. And so, you know, these guys want to monetize, as they should, because this is the only sport that you don't play. You don't play boxing. You play those other sports. You don't play this in MMA. You know, so they're supposed to monetize their careers with the high-profile bouts. But now a lot of them are taking the high reward and low risk fights and putting that on the public, and the general public is tired of it. You're not going to keep giving us refried beans. We're not going to accept that. You know, no casting aspersion on people that like refried beans. You know, but you know, you got to give the public what they want.
Yeah,
Give
they
the
used to be
people what
called
they want.
the tomato can, or Bum of the Month Club. Isn't that what they used to call it back in the day?
And I've never liked that, because anybody that gets in that ring, I respect. So I never call anybody a bum. Never. Because that bum could beat me and you. Don't get it twisted. Okay? And they're putting their lives on the line. So yeah, I never call anybody a bum that gets in that ring. Less than stellar opposition is what I say.
Yeah. One of my favorite boxers from back in the day was, somebody who was underestimated was Chuck Wepner. I always thought it's like he was given no chance. I mean, it was almost like, you know, they said he was a guy, you know, like bagging groceries in a sense. And I always thought that guy really acquitted himself well in the ring, and acquitted himself against the greatest, no doubt.
He did, and could very well be champion in this day and age, because he had the skill set and he was tough as they come. The problem was, do you remember his nickname?
What was he, the bleeder?
The Bayonne Bleeder. The Bayonne Bleeder.
Yeah. They said he started bleeding at the weigh-in. He had that soft skin tissue. Yeah, but he was tough.
Yeah.
You know, Randall Ice Cobb is another one. Jerry Corey. Man, these guys were tough.
Yeah. There was another guy, and I want to say Spinks fought him. And I think the fight was in Annapolis. It was Spinks and Scott Ledoux. Was that? Yeah.
That was tough. Yes, he was.
That that was one of the best heavyweight fights I think I've ever seen. Those guys slugged it out. I mean, that was a flat out brawl. And I want to say that one was one that ended in a draw. And it was probably the right decision, because it was sorry about that again. Yeah, it was one of those fights where the fans enjoyed it, the TV commentators enjoyed it. I mean, it was and really the boxers themselves. I think I probably had more respect for Spinks after that fight, because I'm telling you, he duked it out. He just flat out duked it out. Both of them did.
And may both of them rest in peace.
Yep.
Yeah.
HJ, you mentioned a couple times Earl Spence and Terrence Crawford. That's definitely going to go down there from what I'm hearing you say, June 17th.
That's correct.
I'm going to probably have to miss that fight, because that's Kim's birthday. So if I go to that fight, I'll end up in divorce court the next day. So I'll miss that one. But you've already said Davis is going to beat Garcia. What happens with Spence and Crawford?
Ooh, boy. That's a tough one. Prior to Errol Spence being in that car accident, I would have said him hands down. Seems like he's lost something to me since he was in that car accident. He's still very, very good, but he was exceptional prior to that car accident. So I don't know if he's lost some of the fast twitch muscles that he had. That supreme confidence, that counter punching ability, but something is missing. I don't know what it is. So at this point, and I went to see Bud Crawford out in Nebraska when he fought his last fight. And he's got nothing but better. Matter of fact, I announced Bud Crawford's maybe second or third fight in his career in York, Pennsylvania one night. I saw nothing special. He won, but I saw nothing special about this kid, you know? But look at where he's come from.
Yep.
Look where he is now. That tells me a lot, you know, because I saw him and I didn't see it. I've seen other people from their inception, like a Mark II Sharp Johnson, Sean Bay Mitchell, Sugar Ray. You know, these guys, it was obvious their talent was going to allow them to be world champion. I didn't see that in Crawford. But now I got a newfound respect for him. So I'll still have to wait till it comes up June 17th. But if you put me on the spot right now, I say Crawford. I say Crawford by unanimous split decision.
And you're saying Davis will beat Garcia. Are you saying decision or are you saying KO?
He's going to stretch him.
Wow.
That's what Tank Davis does. I've been knowing him since he was an adolescent. And I saw it then. I saw the unmistakable high IQ. That's what they don't give him credit for. He's brilliant in that ring because he plays chess. He figures you out to get you to make one mistake. And he's so fast with the fast twitch muscles and counter punching ability that when he connects with you with his power, it's a wrap, as we've seen. You know, I've seen him play basketball. He's I won't say a better Muggsy, but he's a Muggsy type. He's a Muggsy type.
Share with Gary. You told me you saw Davis sparring, and he was sparring against heavyweights. Share with me what you saw Tank Davis do to the heavyweight.
Yeah, okay, I gotta get back to you. Here we go. So I saw him drop a heavyweight, man, that was trying to hurt him. He said, oh, it's like that. And he went Baltimore mentality. We're not sparring no more. This survival of the fittest. Tank grew up hard. He grew up in a part of Baltimore called Sandtown, which is equivalent of the worst part of Southeast D.C. Okay, let's just put it out there. Wheeler Waller. You remember that back in the day, don't you? Okay, so Tank has had adversity from birth, overcome that, and so he's primed to be great, to help his family, his mother in particular, who comes out to every fight. She's overcome her challenges, and it's a well-known story, so I'm not giving away her narrative, but, you know, substance abuse. You know, she's cleaned up her act, and, you know, we're just so proud of where she's come from as well. You know, so of course we want to see that family do good. You know, they're from the DMV area. But he, in particular, I think is a generational type talent. You know, he's his own worst enemy at times, and he'll tell you that too. But he's maturing now also. So hopefully he wins this fight, goes on to bigger and better things, because, I mean, the future is blindingly bright for him. That's why Mayweather and Ellerby and Al Heyman didn't want to lose him.
So he wins. What's the next big fight for him?
I don't know what his brain trust has in mind, but if I'm them, I probably would go with Teofimo Lopez, Lomachenko, Devin Haney, and end my career with Shakur Stevenson, win, lose, or draw. That's it. You know, that's it. Keep your faculties intact, and now you're a multi-millionaire. What's the downside? What's the downside? There's none.
You're saying he's a generational. You're saying he's a generational talent.
Yes,
so
he is.
He's fighting 136 right now. Could he go and be comfortable all the way up to maybe 147, 154, and comfortable and fight and be a champion?
I don't think he would be comfortable. He could get to those weights because he's thick and he walks around 160, 170 sometimes as well. But I don't think he would be comfortable, because after they weigh in and rehydrate, those guys are going to come in like 15, 20 pounds heavier and usually taller. He's short. He's short. He got to get inside to use that power, as you've seen. He's not going to knock you out from long range. That's why he takes shots to give one. But the one he gives you, you can't take. Nobody, only two people, let's say that. Only two people have taken his shot. That's it. One early in his career and one when he had a injured hand. Otherwise, it's been good night Irene, son. This boy has the rage of Mike Tyson in him to actually want to hurt people. It's not just boxing for him. He wants to hurt people like Mike did.
Yeah.
I just want to drive. I just want to drive the bone of the nose up into the brain. You remember that?
Yeah.
He meant that, and he tried to.
Well,
and takes
I'm excited. I'm excited about tomorrow night. I'm looking forward to it. I don't know about you, Gary. I know. Well, yeah, I do. I know you're looking forward to it as well.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, again, I'm looking forward to boxing. Seeing a match that you set your Saturday night aside for to watch it, and that's something we haven't seen. And I think this discussion is very helpful in helping me understand about the lower classes and that profile, because the lower classes, in a sense, were what saved boxing in the 80s, with the welterweights and gave a lot and helped shift attention to the heavyweights later on.
That's right. And you spoke about the heavyweights. Wilder's back. I think Wilder can become champion again. He might not beat Tyson Fury if they meet up again, because styles make fights and certain fighters just got your number. And Tyson Fury got his number. Let's just put it out there. Tyson Fury has my newfound respect. He's a master boxer at 6'9". Let's give him his props. Undefeated. Okay? He's one of the GOATs. He is. Nobody's beating him. Let's give that man his props. It's not coincidence his father named him Tyson.
For a reason. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what he said.
And he's got the last name to match, too.
Oh, touche.
Yeah.
Gary mentioned about these fighters and saving boxing. Let's slide over to basketball and find out, HJ, who's going to save the Golden State Warriors?
Well, it won't be Draymond Green, I'll tell you that. I think it's probably going to have to be an implosion in the organization to get more talent. I would trade Draymond and Clay right now to get other talent. Yeah. Clay is, after that injury, he's not the Clay that can go for 40, 50. And Draymond, come on, he cost them one championship, if you remember, when he fouled LeBron James and got suspended in the 73 win season. You remember that?
They accidentally got their feet tangled.
Oh, is that what the story is? You sticking to it? Okay. Yeah. Well, no, they're gonna have to change a whole lot of things.
John's a wrestling referee. He doesn't see infractions. John would be good in WWE.
Yeah, I believe that. No,
now, with you saying that, what they need, are you saying Golden State cannot beat Sacramento in this series? Are you saying they're done? They won last night. It's 2-1. They got another one at home. Can Golden State pull it out? Or are you saying they are done? This is it.
Man, Curry's one of my all-time favorite players, so I'm not going to bet against him. He can go off for 50 at any given moment. So I'm not going to say they done. No. Actually, Lakers should not have beat Memphis the other night with them missing Morant, Steven Adams, and who else? Somebody else. Brandon Clark. But they did. Memphis did. Giannis Antetokounmpo didn't play for Milwaukee, and they won without him. So players rise to the occasion. And Golden State did that without Draymond, but Draymond is not that factor that he used to be anyway. He's not.
Interesting theory. You mentioned the Lakers. Do the Lakers get past Memphis?
I think they do, because I don't think that Morant's hand is going to heal miraculously, and they really need him. So I think they played over their heads the other night, off the adrenaline, off the excitement. I think now the Lakers right the course, and they go ahead and to win the rest of the games. Yeah, I do.
Look over to the East. Does Philadelphia close out Brooklyn? They're already up 3-0. Do they close them out?
What's this, rhetorical question now or something? They up 3-0. Of course they gonna close them out. What you throwing me softball questions now after these hard questions with boxing? Come on, man. You know I used to play ball. I used to be in your gym at Rolling Crest. I hit some game winners. You saw it. No, but I think that Philly should come out of the East. I do think that. I think that Boston came out last year, but I think Philly now has the process down pat. They know how they can win without Harden. They know that Maxey is a rising star. Their bench players, Melton and the rest of them. And of course Embiid should be your MVP, right?
You're going away now. You're saying Philadelphia's coming out the East. You're saying they're beating Boston and Milwaukee.
I do think that. I don't think that Giannis back. I don't think Giannis back is going to heal miraculously in time. I don't. And I think that Philly got the momentum going. That was one of the blocks of all time last night when Embiid went up over Dinwiddie and caught it right before it hit the rim. That was one of them chase down blocks that we've seen over the years that is indelibly etched in our minds, and
Tayshaun Prince. That's the one.
Oh,
that's
my goodness. Reggie Miller's still traumatized by that.
Yeah.
Woo! But the most memorable one, but it didn't, result in a championship. But the most memorable one, you got to give it to Ja Morant. When he went above the square, we had never seen a guard or anybody jump that high. He's the one once in a lifetime generational talent as well. But he got to get out of his own way.
He is must see TV. He is must see TV.
But he's not built like that. He's not a thug. I don't know why he's trying to portray one. It makes no sense to me.
Well, we hope everything works out for him and it continues to move in the right way. Yeah. Gary, go ahead. I've been talking so much, Gary. Go ahead and hit HJ with some basketball.
Well, I want to run this by you. And, when you were talking about Draymond, it's obvious with his track record for flagrant fouls and technical fouls that he's never going to get the benefit of the doubt. He didn't, and I don't think he got the benefit of the doubt with his latest infraction and suspension, which I think is unfortunate because that's one that I'll honestly say I thought that was one that he had more of a case, to knock it down. But again, there's two things you don't do. One, you don't build up a track record. Two, you don't do it with the commissioner in the audience. And three, to add something, you don't inflame the crowd while all this is happening. And that's when, you're talking about Draymond can't get out of his own way. That's, I don't know if that's going to be a hindrance to him, say, if he does become a free agent, because you inherit a guy who I still think has a few more seasons left in him, but also has a lot more headaches left in him for a team, and that's something that it's like anybody that goes after him, if Golden State dares to trade him, because I think my opinion is you could probably try to get one more year out of this group before you figure out what to do. I don't think they're at that crossroads just yet, even with the record, because nobody expected them to win last year. And I mean, they're the reigning champs, so there's still something left in the tank with these guys, but I think they need another complementary player, and I don't know where they find that guy right now.
Mm-hmm. Point well taken. I would still trade him, to get some market value, because he has a huge contract too.
Yeah.
You kind of want to get that cap, and get some of these guys coming out, college, or get somebody else from another team, that could be more of a fit now going forward, because you don't attack your own teammate in preseason like that, and I think that really didn't help that chemistry at all. It didn't help at all, because I look at the games and I don't see Poole and Draymond dapping each other up after plays. It's like it's more business, than personal chemistry that you need, on teams. And so they're going about the business of basketball, but I don't see that tight-knit chemistry that you need to pull games out, to win championships together, to sacrifice for each other. I saw it earlier in the season. Jordan Poole took a last-second shot, and Curry was pissed. He was jumping up down the court. Remember that game? Like, what you doing?
Yeah.
This is my shot. This is my team. I deserve to have taken that shot. Fortunately, went in overtime, and Jordan Poole won the game for him, and Curry dapped him up going into the locker room. But had they not won that game, that might have been a telltale sign of things to come too. You got to defer to who brought you to the dance, right? And Curry is the one. Let's make no mistake about that. So that's probably reason why they won that game last night, because what he had, 36?
Yep.
On a bad night.
And you see, the other thing that you got to look at too with Draymond Green, he's a free agent at the end of this year, and the front office has to figure out, are they going to pay him that kind of money when you already are paying Curry? You just gave Poole some money. You got Wiggins there. You got Klay Thompson there. And unfortunately, I think Draymond Green is a heck of a ball player. He does a lot of things that people don't even recognize. And he's great, but I don't think Golden State's going to be able to keep him because of the finances. And that means they're going to have to figure out if he's not there, you're going to have to figure out a different way to play. Draymond brings so many unique characteristics to the game. You look at his stat sheet, it goes across there where you can have 10 rebounds, 10 assists, and the things you don't see are the great pixie sets, or maybe not the assist, but the pass before the assist, or like a hockey assist. He's an unbelievable player, man. And, but,
True.
And then I look at, go back on what Gary.
Yeah. Right. Would you agree? Dennis Rodman type.
Yeah. And to go back on what Gary said, his suspension, in my opinion, I think he got his suspension based upon the theatrics he had when he was on the sideline waiting to find out if he was going to be ejected. He had the same kind of emotional outburst during that game. If you and Gary think back to last year, they played Memphis in the first game of the playoffs, same kind of outburst. And I think more so than stepping on Sabonis, I think that's what got him ejected. And I also think that's also what got him suspended. But I'll also say this to you. It is so unique to me to see a former Detroit Piston of the Bad Boys handing out discipline about how you should act properly in a basketball game.
Well, he was the good guy among the Bad Boys, though.
Yeah, I mean, Dumars is a great player. He wasn't. But I just find it so ironic.
It is. Yeah, but I never forgave him per se for going along with Isaiah and not shaking Michael Jordan's hand when the Bulls finally beat him. They all walked out, humiliated, no sportsmanship. And Michael was shaking his head then. And my son was watching it with me. He was a teenager. He said, Dad, what's going on? I said, Michael Jordan's going to remember this. He's going to remember this. He's not going to take this lightly. And as you know, Isaiah wasn't on that dream team. Tell me that was coincidence.
Yeah.
And Daly was the coach. Wasn't Daly the coach?
Yes, he was. Yes, he was.
All right, then. That was Michael's influence, you know. But give Zeke, Isaiah, his props, because he beat all of them, if you remember.
Yes, he did.
He beat Michael. He beat Bird. He beat Magic and Kareem. Come on now.
Yeah, he did it. Nobody else did that. Nobody else did that.
Nobody did that, but he cut his own throat with that move.
Hey, you know what? I hate to say this. This has been a quick moving show. Man, HJ, I loved having you on here. This is the fastest moving 45 minutes I've seen in my life, man. You are absolutely the epitome of being the best. You are a dear friend of mine. I appreciate you for taking the time to come on the Daily Deuce today. My goodness, I love you, brother. Thank you so much.
Yeah, it was fun having you. That was quick. That was like stick and move. That's what this show was like.
Thank you, Gary. I appreciate it. Bring me back. I'm available. You know, thank God that since I retired from DC government 37 years now, I've been announcing just about every week somewhere. Allentown, Pennsylvania, Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, Philadelphia, Baltimore, of course, DC. Got a trivia question for you. This promoter invited me down to a place in Virginia, and I said, I don't know about going down there, man. He said, no, it's not like that anymore. So what's the name of the place, Gary? And the name is in the name of the town of how they used to treat black men.
Ooh. Oh, man. Say in Virginia.
Yeah. Deep in Virginia. And so the name of the town is what they did to black men. And this was a white promoter, and I told him, man, I don't know about going there. He said, no, it's not like that anymore.
Lynchburg. That's right. Yeah. I had to think about that because I kept thinking it's like, yeah.
And you know, it wasn't like that. They treated us with mad respect, and that's a commentary in itself because the white promoters treat me better than the brothers, man. And that kind of saddens me, but it's bittersweet at the same time. I don't get it. So hopefully before my career is done, Al Heyman, Mayweather, Leonard Ellerbe, and these brothers that can make it happen will make it happen because it not only helps me, it helps them. But they don't see that. They don't see that for some reason. So, I already envisioned my speech at the International Boxing Hall of Fame, and I'm going to have to forgive these guys. That's what my mother taught me. I'm going to have to forgive them. You didn't help me. You could have helped me, but you didn't help me. And in some cases, you hurt me. So if you don't help me, it's okay, but don't hurt me. And that's what I have a problem with.
Yeah.
So, because we're the only race that don't stick together and help each other and don't even cost a dime sometimes. And matter of fact, it monetizes you to help somebody else. But
yeah, I agree.
Why don't
I'm a firm. Yeah, I'm a firm believer that we can be our worst enemies, and we got to do better for each other, and that's all I can really say on that. And in all things, we got to do better by each other.
We do, man. Before it's too late, for real. Because we are our solution. We are. So I just wanted to rant. Thank you for that rant. It's been 35 years now that I've been, so appreciate you get that off my chest.
Gary, why don't you take us
come
home,
back and
man?
see us. Yeah. Yep.
Do you see the shirt I'm wearing? It's I guess.
Oh yeah.
It's on. You read. You see what? Can you see what it says?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Never surrender. That's right.
There you go. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Never surrender.
Race Day, come on back and see us, folks. come back and watch us the next time on a Daily Deuce. You know, there's plenty of sports on this week, plenty of playoffs, plenty of baseball. We didn't even get a chance to talk about Max Scherzer and his suspension, but you know, probably by the time we come back again, he'll be on the way back. But again, watch sports. There's plenty to watch. There's plenty to enjoy. John, as always, thank you for, you know, another lively guest that you know, to come on and talk about something we normally don't. And HJ, come on back, man. We'll see you next time, folks.
Thank you so
Y'all
much.
take care. See you.
Deuces. Daily Deuces. Peace.